So what's great about today is we've already dumped. Usually we dump during stream. We can't keep dumping. That is mathematically impossible. It has to stop dumping here. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone has had a good week, good September. Let me know if the audio is to your liking. Chat. I can't alter it. It is what it is, but it's important that I ask. It's important that I pretend to care, at least, right? Let's make sure I got the right scene here. We do. People arguing about price. I haven't even started. People arguing about price in the chat. I think it's important to remember everybody has their own time horizon. Generally, time in the market is superior to timing the market. People are going to argue with me on that one. That's okay. If you are bullish in the next 4 years, I'm in agreement, 100%, if that's your time horizon. If you're bullish in the next 6 to 12 months, I'm in agreement. If you're bullish in the next, well, let's say till Inauguration Day, if you're bullish, then I think that's where we have some disagreement. That isn't to say, somebody said the audio is quiet. Does that mean I crank it? I can crank it, but I just don't think that's going to be a good thing for most people. So from here to the inauguration is the question. By the way, this will be the last stream of the year, the last piece of content for the year. I'll come back first week of the year with content again. So yeah, the question is from here to election day, what do you do, if anything? If you think we're going lower and you want to buy those lower prices, then you need cash to do that. So if you don't have cash and you think we're going lower, not financial advice, but hopefully you've already made that decision. Because you can't buy, I guess, unless you're on leverage, right? You can't buy more BTC with BTC. So you need cash. Yeah, sorry, Joey, no Christmas Day stream. So the current issue in the near term with BTC, and this is just BTC, for alts it gets exponentially worse, okay? So if you're mildly bearish on BTC and you're holding a bunch of alts, that makes no sense to me. We saw yesterday, as we do during any bearish period, any like spike in, sorry, I've got some carrot in my tooth. Any spike in volatility, spike in mania, panic, everything correlates to one, everything comes down. Gold was down yesterday. S&P was down, IWM, right? Everything was down. And I already lost my train of thought. I guess my point is, if you're bearish BTC, you can't be bullish alts here, at least in the near term. In the near term, we'll look at BTC pairs. The issue with price on the cloud, I was hoping we would get a low to hold at 100. We have not. We do not need to go lower. We don't have to go lower. But if you think we're going lower, you need a way to buy lower prices. The cloud likes 87. I have no idea if we get to 87. There's 2 trailing stop losses on the daily to watch. The first being the blue line, the Tenkan, that is likely to be breached realistically for probably the second time since the rally started in October. That's going to be breached today, unless we close back above 100, which is possible. The second trailing stop loss to watch would be the fractals, which we talk about every stream, currently still lower there at 94. I was hoping we would get the low to hold up here at 100, and then we would get this double whammy of Tenkan trailing stop loss with Williams fractal trailing stop loss. That didn't happen. So it is what it is. But you'll notice over time, once we start squirreling in the Tengen, it's harder for momentum to continue. It typically requires a period of consolidation at the very least. And again, nothing needs to happen. We can go sideways until February, until March, right? But if you think lower, and I do think lower based on the cloud, based on this red line, I think that's a realistic possibility for an attempt. It could be a wick. It could be there for 5 picoseconds. It doesn't matter. I don't care. If you think that, then you need cash to buy. That's where I'm at. So for all the alts, again, if you want to buy lower, you need cash to do that. So keep that in mind. If you want to hold through it, that's your choice. There's no right answer here. It all depends on what you want to do. If your time horizon is 2025, if your time horizon is January 2026, whatever, that's up to you. But we do these streams weekly, so I'm talking about it every week. It doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Obviously, Paul, the press conference started all this off yesterday. This is not a cycle high. This is not an end of the world, it's over high. This is not it's going to zero high. This is a intra-cycle pullback drawdown that we always see every time. I have zero concern for where this ends up. I have zero concern for 2025. We're talking about from December to January. What do we think is going to happen here? I think sideways or down is likely. I don't even care about buying higher. I could care less, right? As far as chart patterns go, the hard part about this was on the low time frames, and you know you're in trouble when you're on the 4-hour. When you're on the daily and you don't see something that's actionable, and you have to go lower, that's already a sign that, okay, maybe we're getting close to the end, right? If you have to, for example, if you have to look at Ripple, I talked about this in the video yesterday, but if you have to look at Ripple on like the hourly to figure out what the heck's going on, that's probably a pretty good sign that things have sped up a lot, right? Now, Ripple, admittedly, still looks okay up here. Doesn't look that bad on the 4-hour. We'll get to Ripple in a minute, but so BTC had this series of patterns here. We kept breaking up. We kept holding the lows. I don't see anything to save us here at the moment. Before this down drop, somebody in the Discord did map out this head and shoulders. Excellent spot by them. And that's where we're at right now. Previously, we had a series of inverted head and shoulders that had played out, right? That's where we get the price action at the highs. My mistake was assuming that we would live up here for a minute, more than 30 seconds that we did. But whatever, is what it is. So for me, I'll be AFK a little bit. I'll be not around, not in front of a computer. And I just don't want to worry about it. And if I have to buy back at 110, so be it. But I don't think that's going to be the reality, you know. So if you're bearish, then you got to do the right thing for you, right? That's the whole point of looking at the daily, having this North Star of, okay, are we as overbought down here? No. Do we get increasingly overbought up here? Yeah, we do. It's a spectrum, it's a probability, it's fractional, right? It's not always absolute, which is what drives people crazy. They just want an answer. They want, where do I buy, where do I sell? That's what people want. They do not want a spectrum of possibilities and probabilities. Something else that Crypto Jack was pointing out here was the channel. Something else that's equally viable. Maybe we just hold this channel, we just chop around. I don't know. The issue is if we don't hold 100, I don't want to be around here and say, oh man, I was in coin this whole time saying we might go to 90 and I did nothing. That's just me personally. So it depends on what you want to do. But long term, could care less. We'll be fine. DCA people should be ecstatic that we're going to be down, or that we are down. And what else we got? I don't know. So I like bids for BTC. Where's the horizontal line tool here? I like bids at that level based on the cloud. Based on my experience, that's where price likes to go. If it pulls back, you can backtest that. And then I like things a little bit higher and a little bit lower. And that's that. I don't overthink it. You can say, well, what about this low? What about this level? We can measure like the 50% retrace. That's 80. You know, I don't know. So you do whatever you want. 50% retrace from the election, November 5th, is 86, 85. So if we break down, I don't think alts do well. What's up, OP? What's up? Cabbage Hands, says Joe Rogan. The real problem is yields in DXY. If I can find that. DXY, especially for alts here, DXY looks very strong. So again, we can say XYZ might happen when Trump is in office. He's not in office yet, and a lot can happen in a month. So you got to do what you got to do. And what you want, for me, the easy trade is we go to 90, we go to 87, and then do whatever we want to do. But at least I can feel at ease. I can feel at peace that, thanks, Trevor. I can feel at ease and at peace that we had our drawdown. We had our 10%. What would it be from the high? It would be 20% from the high. We typically see 20 to 30% drawdowns in a bull market. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary. I would feel comfortable buying there and eating lower and not caring. But buying up here, to me, and expecting a potential move lower just is silly. So there's that. There's dollar strength, which where this could go is not a good place for anything on the crypto side of the equation. And that's kind of it. So if you're not bearish, like if you're not bearish near term like I am, then you're probably already buying, which is fine. Again, it depends on your time horizon. That's all. Depends on your time horizon. We may survive, we may wick back to 100, I don't know. If we break down an alt's nuke, it will be a buying opportunity. I agree. But again, if you have zero cash here and you want to buy lower, that's tough. That's tough. Doge down 17%. Doge already at the daily Kijun. The issue with the cloud stuff on alts is they just have a wider band of possibility. This is why you never buy anything. I don't care what it is. If it's up 250% in a month, 350% in a month, no, you just don't buy it. Sorry. Like we can track this on a low time frame. We can play level to level. We can say it might break out, but you've got to have a stop loss on that. Do you know how many people made life-changing money just in this month alone? A lot of people. So what are they going to do? They're going to sell. You can't pay your mortgage with Dogecoin. Not yet. So I keep saying I want to see a full reset of the cloud. What that would mean for alts is basically what we've had kind of like back here. We go from completely bearish, everything is bearish, to bullish, to resetting the cloud. So bearish to bullish to bearish to bullish. That's what I want to see for alts. And that may take 2 months. I don't know. But it's unlikely not to happen based on this price action. I think the further you go down the list, the higher the likelihood that you will get pretty extreme down moves potentially. It's just, again, this isn't like absolute. This is, okay, do we think LTC could go down to 75? I don't know. Why not? Like Cardano, is this a head and shoulders to you? If it is, where does that measure? Okay. That target is another 20% lower. I don't know. I just can't, despite everything being down as much as it is, Cardano's down 30% from the high. I just can't be bullish. I can't assume that things are going to bounce here. Not for me. And this is even more evidence when you get stuff like this that I just can't be bullish on a chart that looks like that. Not until that resolves or cancels itself or figures itself out. But again, this chart was up 250% in a month. The tough part about alts is they do nothing or stay down for a very long time, and you have to be ready at the tip of a hat instantly, all in, fully ready to go, or it's very hard to catch the majority of this move. Because by the time we're up here and swirling around, everyone's thinking, okay, it's pulled back a bunch. I can get in now, right? It still might go again or something, but not usually the case. Yeah, BTC, it's had both a bull div and a bear div. The bear div is definitely there. So what that means is a rising price, mostly lower volumes. If we pull up RSI here, if I can find it, there we go. Let's collapse that. So here's the RSI, right? Higher prices, lower RSI. Buried in this somewhere is a hidden bullish divergence where you're getting, at least temporarily, a lower low in RSI, higher low in price. At least that was there for a little while. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you on the bear divs. Even BTC, as much as I'm giving alts flack for being up 250% in a month, from election day, BTC is still at 40%. From the September low, BTC is still up 80%. So you're going to have some profit taking, right? We're probably going to have a different type of tax selling maybe in January when people want to defer the taxes for another year effectively, right? Because they don't want to pay taxes on this tax cycle. They want to move that to next tax cycle. What else do I want to talk about? If you zoom in on BTC, a 6-hour, 12-hour, you're getting less and less evidence that the trend is intact on lower time frames. 12-hour, you're going to get a bearish TK cross in the next couple days. High time frames, I'm not worried about at all. This stuff just needs some time to either pull back or go sideways. GOSP, see you in 2028. I don't think GOSP owns any BTC either, or whatever. No, I'm seeing a lot of legacy accounts bring up a certain meme coin joke, and as some sort of metric that the Fed is doing the wrong thing or this is crypto. We have this stuff every cycle. At any given day, at any given time, this stuff happens. So I don't know, like, why that's the hill they want to die on, but okay. Ripple we talked about. On low time frames, but on high time frames, it's some sort of consolidation or flag, or I don't know. It's everything and nothing at the same time. The 4 hour looked okay, but it's starting to give that up. You could say, is this an inverted head and shoulders? Maybe. You could say, is it a head and shoulder thing? Diamond top? I don't know. I don't think it's clearly anything. And the daily, you're just hoping that's not a double top, right? If you're still long this stuff. It's just a mess. And still up 300%. All's I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, you know? Oh, we'll get to MSTR, baby. We will get to that one. That one is a special something. ETH on the daily, 32 is the level. It's almost there. ETH has had trouble doing anything at all past 4,000. So you're either dollar cost averaging around 3,200 to zero, or you're just waiting for 4,000. Because if people keep selling it off at 4, why stick around and if you don't want to, and just wait for that, right? Now I still like this ETH BTC idea, but this is a longer term play. I like the possibility that this could be an inverted head and shoulders. I don't know, but you know, this isn't like a leveraged idea. It's not a short-term idea. It's a Q1 into Q2 potentially idea. This just needs to hold that low to be confident. But it's tough when you say something like this and then people load the boat, right? They load the boat on ETH BTC and then it just keeps selling off. You know, that's why I trade this as a breakout or as a cloud breakout with higher confidence over here. And you just sort of DCA, whatever, have a stop loss. But I like this much better later into Q1. But this is definitely what I'd be watching on ETH BTC. ETH we talked about. What else we got? Sol. I remember a time when people were arguing with me whether or not this was a head and shoulders on Sol. I'm not going to blame those people. But this goes back to my mantra. If I see this ever on anything, I don't care what it is. I don't care if they've just cured cancer. If I see this, I am less likely to buy, less likely to hold, more likely to sell, more likely to leave it alone, let it do its thing. Now, it did attempt to cancel that out, but it didn't end up going anywhere. And here we are. I'm not doing victory laps. You don't need to short every time you see this. It's just, let's be real here. This is not a bullish, this isn't bullish price action. And here we are at 192. Something else that had this was NVIDIA, which again, it's not like I'm calling a short trade every time I see this. It's just, do you want to buy this here or do you want to wait? That's it. You can take the short trade all you want, but when I see this, it tells me, leave it alone. Leave it alone. That's it. So for Solana, it's falling out of this downward channel. The daily looks hideous, atrocious. It's an abomination. It's an affront to humanity. This whole cloud needs to reset. You're going to get a TK cross today or tomorrow. We're already in the cloud. Obviously, this is way late. But if you were paying attention to the warning signs in November, then you don't care because you're not holding any SOL, which I am not. And I've been saying this for quite some time. So let it die. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Cloud is still bullish. The Kumo is still bullish. And the TK across is still bullish. So what you want is everything to flip from bearish back to bullish. That's going to take probably a month, probably 2 months. It might take us into Q2 2025, right? So if you want to DCA this and sit in the old chop zone, you can. But until I have better evidence myself that this thing's gonna pull up, I don't see a reason to think about it. Just let it have its temper tantrum. I don't know. Set bids at 150. Who the hell knows where this goes, right? Who the hell knows? I don't know. It doesn't look bullish here, and it hasn't looked bullish. That's all I know. If we look at Sol BTC, like somebody's asking, I keep coming back to this chart, and I try to be explicitly clear. I like this idea. I like this setup as an ascending triangle. Doesn't look great here. Doesn't look great here. It's below the high time frame cloud. Never broke out realistically above horizontal resistance. And here you are. So this is why I don't like sitting in this stuff, expecting good things to happen. I like waiting for the breakout. This is what breakout trading is all about. It's a give and a take. You can sit in this and accumulate slowly, expecting a breakout. But again, you have to have a stop loss, or you don't, and you just eat it. You can just eat it to wherever this goes. And if you're cycle bullish Solana, what do you care? But this chart is not bullish Sol BTC. That's all. I like it above 0027 and not sooner. If this breaks down fully, maybe like 00142 or something. But to me, the long never triggered here on this chart as a breakout. Doge. The other part about alts and meme coins is, it's a bunch of retail or just tourist fast money, right? So they're going to panic more. They're going to sell the bottom more. That's why you get these widening of like the average true range or volatility. It's just a lot of inexperienced retail type activity. Look at Tesla. Tesla's the same thing. It's a different type of trader that is involved in this stuff generally. So just like Sol, this is probably going to void all of Q1. Just, you got to let this, for me, I got to let this reset. Doge was a first mover along with Sol. Sol moved in early 23, obviously, but Doge moved in October before everything else did. So I just think that needs a lot more time to do anything in my book. Cardano, we briefly talked about head and shoulders all day. Needs to reset. Let it do its thing. Sui actually is holding up quite well. To me, this still looks fine. I don't think it's like a screaming buy, but I'd feel much more comfortable holding this than any other alt, that's for sure. Just look at the chart. It's barely down, and it's holding onto those highs. Trend is still very much intact. It looks okay. I don't own any Sui personally, but it looks okay. It looks okay. Someone was asking about Avax. Avax is at the daily Kijun there at 39. Also looks like an M top to me. I just think all this stuff needs to reset. That's all. So you're either eating this for another 2 months or you've already cut it. But if we turn on the Williams fractals, This would be a Williams Fractals breach today. It's way late, right? It's already down whatever percentage this is. It's already down 30% from the high. You're going to get a trend cross here. I don't know. Welcome to alts, I guess. Welcome to alts. So I don't have anything on this either. It just, there's no pattern, there's no trend. It needs to reset, needs to find more buyers than sellers. Pepe, the Memecoin stuff, all of this stuff is just up. It was just up so much, right? Does this have utility or real value? No, not really. So it's going to be the first thing that anybody sells. And here we are. This needs to reset. When we are in a similar spot, probably going into Q2, as we were here, and I'll be the first one to say bullish, blah, 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 with a blah, blah, blah. But not here. You can be a dip buyer, but I don't expect anything to come of that anytime soon, personally. Link, someone's asking, again, it's just, if your time horizon is 6 months to a year, I think you're fine. If your time horizon is a month, you're gonna be waiting for some stuff here. And you just have to have your own personal plan here. I can't tell anybody what to do because I don't know what their plan is, right? You know. But have a plan. Are you selling or are you buying? Where are you buying or where are you selling? And then how long do you plan on holding? That's what you need to know. That's all, right? Link could still go to 50, easy. In 2025, no issues with that. But at what opportunity costs, for how long? That's the issue. And each person has to answer that themselves. I don't know. Someone's asking about Atom. Thanks for the dono. I think they have Atom here, right? Yeah. Atom. So all I can see is Head and Shoulders. This is all I see. You know, it might sound ridiculous, like I'm like reading the tea leaves. It's repetitive chart price action that you see over and over and over again. And eventually when you see this stuff enough, just like we saw down here, we saw the opposite. We saw some complex version of the opposite of this. I know what to do when I see that. I typically like the long side. I know what to do when I see it up here. That's down. That's bearish. So I like 550 on Atom as a target for the bearish consolidation there. It's not like that's early. You know, it's a bit late at this point because it's already to 6.8. Gosp is taking pot shots at Bitcoin Core all of a sudden. He makes a boatload on INJ and he thinks he can just come at Bitcoin Core, bro. What's that about, bro? I don't know what TRB is. We can take a look. You're talking about again, this is the tough part. Everybody thinks that their coin is going to do amazing because everything else is doing well. It is a little bit of that. A rising tide raises all shitcoins. But it's also, what does this look like in a vacuum? Does it look bullish? I don't know. What's your time horizon? What's your cost average? What's your cost basis? This could be long-term support. This could be a bearish breakdown of a triangle. This could be an Adam and Eve. To me, it's not clearly anything, so I just avoid it. It's also something I've never heard of. And that gives me warning signs immediately. Not that that matters, but that's it. TRB weekly. We can say that this is, we can say it's oversold based on the TK disequilibrium, but I don't know. I have no idea. I got nothing. I got nothing for you there. What else on this list do we want to look at? Tau. Other than Sui, there's kind of almost nothing that I love that I've looked at. It just looks like neutral, chop, or down to me, just across the board. I don't know. I hate to be like bearish, but the big thing was BTC rolling over at 108. Powell coming out and saying, well, you're going to see less cuts, which we may, or sorry, less cuts, which we may end up seeing more cuts next year. So this might be the market getting too bearish. We don't know. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Right. If you've got a target of 1 million by 2035, what do you care that I say from week to week about Bitcoin, right? You shouldn't. You shouldn't care. This is why you keep the hodl stack separate from the trading stack. Recession in 2025. I don't know if I want to. I don't want to say what I'm thinking out loud, but it's possible. It's possible for sure. Sui looked good. Yeah. Say, we can take a look. It's tough. It's tough because for the laggards, they need long enough time to get rotated into to actually reach their price targets. If we back some of this stuff out, back here we had triple bottom cloud stuff that, depending on how you want to measure this, you know, we hit that target. So what's next? A full reset. Full reset. What you're hoping for, what you're not hoping for, is something like this in 2025. Needs time. Needs time. Ondo. Sure, let's take a look. I don't know. It looks ranging, angry. I don't know. Again, like what's your time horizon? What's your cost basis? The best place to ever buy anything is down here. The problem is that everything did this at the same time. Everything broke out on the cloud around the election. Okay, when's the next best time to buy? The next best time is anytime we're close to the red line, which is the Kijun, and we're still a little bit of ways off from that. And that's all I got. We're bullish. We're trend bullish. I don't see any big warning signs. You wouldn't want to see like a head and shoulders type fractal into the end of the year. But I don't know. I'm Polish. It is pronounced Olszewicz, technically. Even though I say Olszewicz in English, but I think in Polish it's Olszewicz. Now, what I wanted to say was, for 4 years, everybody was blaming Biden for the economy, and if Trump gets into office and then we get the recession, are they still going to blame Biden for the recession, which they will? It's always somebody else's fault. It's just, that's the way it goes. Are they going to blame Biden for their own policies pushing us into a recession potentially? Not that we weren't already headed for that, but are they going to take responsibility is the question. I'm not even saying a recession is necessarily a bad thing. We need these cycles to wash out the nonsense. Just reading chat here. Aave, ENA, yeah. Again, it depends on your time horizon, depends on your entry. Doesn't look great today, I'll give you that. Doesn't look great today. Hold on, let me wipe my nose here, 1 second. Ah. All right. It's just tough because everything was sort of parabolic at once, and now everything is pulling back, you know? Aave maybe to like 230? I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm paranoid. Hold on. I'll be right back. 1 sec. 1 sec. All right. This is why like watching DXY is probably more important, because if DXY has no top, then alts are very much in trouble. BTC's in trouble. If DXY keeps going to 110, we're in trouble on the crypto side for sure. Again, Trump has said he wants to come into office and send the dollar lower. That's a possibility, but he's not in office yet. And here we are, you know? So what are you going to do in the meantime if this goes to 110? That's the issue. That's the issue. Aave entry 80, time frame 6 to 12 months. I like crypto throughout Trump's first term, or Trump's first year of his second term. So you just got to do with that what you will. You know, if you're bullish for 2025, then what do you care, really? What happens here? It's just everything is up a lot, right? So everything's pulling back a lot. That's kind of the best analysis I can give in the near term on alts. ENA, if you're a believer that ENA's price action is driven by speculation and funding increasing on the long side, and if you don't think that's going to happen in the near term, then I would assume ENA would be flat to down. And again, you never want to see this. You never want to see a head and shoulders whenever that might happen. So if there's not a bullish environment and something relies on bullish funding or funding for the long side that's high, then, you know, maybe you lighten your load on ENA. Did the sell the news narrative invert itself in the last 48 hours on the inauguration? I don't think so. I think the Fed was more bearish than people thought. And everything was already elevated. It just kind of needed a catalyst to pull back, right? And at this point in the year, we're almost to like Christmas holiday time. Some people just want to not worry about price, right? So, I don't know. That's why the easiest thing is just let this pull back. Let BTC pull back to 90. Let alts drop another, I don't know, 15 to 30%. And then think about picking up the pieces. I do not like knife catching down here. I just don't. I don't like Sol. I don't like the Sol ecosystem. I don't like memes. I like DeFi in 2025, but not here. BTC is going to survive no matter what. I like DCA, I like lump sum, lower, whatever. That's just me. Some of this other stuff, I think it just needs to settle down for a good month before we do anything concrete. We might reach it in this stream. I don't think ENA is going to blow up like Luna. It does have risks. I think you're talking more like USDE. If USDE blows up, then ENA is going to blow up, sure. But so yeah, you just got to have a target, have a plan, put some limit orders in, enjoy the holidays, that sort of thing. On the legacy side, let's talk about MSTR. MST Rizzle. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Let's pull up this bad boy. So, similar to chart patterns, if you look at enough charts for enough time, you will see channels form, right? Whether or not this is pareidolia or not, it doesn't really matter. But sometimes price respects the channels, sometimes it ignores them. MSTR seemingly has respected a channel for a long time. You're welcome, Zach. Thanks for the dono. And going into December, mid-November, even before then, even in the breakout in October, I was talking about being up here, just being the channel level to be careful of. Meanwhile, everybody's talking about the MNAV going to 10. Everybody's talking about QQQ inclusion, infinite money, reactor, fine, whatever, right? But that's not what the technical suggested. Now, there's obviously a possibility that price just ignores the technicals and keeps going anyway. But at this point, much like Doge or anything that's up, I mean, this was up just from the breakout. It was up over 200%. From the low, I think it was up, 380%. Trees don't normally grow to the sky, and it just needs time, right? It needs time. Let the buyers who are up a bajillion% sell. It's going to be harder to keep this thing up, and give it some time. So realistically, on the daily, what would a target be? 245 today, 246 tomorrow, right? It slowly moves up. The support moves up. But anything underneath the midpoint is fair game. Just as it was post to March, it's the same story. Nothing has changed here, regardless of the externalities, the idiosyncratic nature of whatever's going on with MSTR. If you're just looking at this as a price channel, you're a buyer below the midpoint, you're a seller at the extremes. And as long as we hold this pitchfork, that relationship should continue. That's all. So MSTR is a tough buy here for me. It just doesn't make sense. On the daily cloud, again, like Doge, like whatever else, you will need a full reset here, just based on probability, for this thing to go again. And that's going to take 1 to 2 months. Yeah, Danny, usually 2 p.m. EST Thursdays is stream time. And it's had a great run. MSTR's had a great run. It was up 400%, and people are like, no, it's got to go to 6. It's got to go to 10. It's going to split again. Like, yes, that will happen probably in 2025, but it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen today. So much like September, on the cloud, you want to see this probably going into Q2. Like, I wouldn't have any bullish expectations on this in the near term, personally. And I could care less about QQQ. Okay, if it's bullish, it'll show you on the chart. That's just me. $15,000 bag, is it realistic to try and trade up? If you have a small bag, you want to make less trades. in my opinion. You definitely don't want to use leverage on most of it. And you want to get your best bang for your buck is going to be like cycle highs, cycle lows. Even something like this, like if you caught this trade at the breakout to anywhere up here, you know, you're winning, right? The problem is people might catch a trade like this on time, early, or slightly late, and they get up here and they get greedy. They say, I want more, right? They say, I'm not going to close this. That's why realistically, every trade you take should have an entry, exit, and a stop loss, including something that you think has an incredibly bullish outlook. So the smaller the bag, the better off you're most likely just figuring out how to get more fiat, in my opinion. But that's me. So yeah, this is MSTR is going to need some time to consolidate. MSTU, MSTX, these things might just be dead. Like they're gonna get vol dragged to death. They are gonna not have a good time. It's negative compounding. It's not gonna be good. But I think there will be a time. I'll pull up this example. This is a inverse NVIDIA ETF, okay? We'll go to like the 4 hour. So kind of the opposite of MSTR. Over time, these high fee vol drag products go to zero just because of the nature of the beast. But even something like this has a reasonable bottom type TA or whatever. Like it's not like it's TA doesn't exist on these products. So what would I want to see on MSTU or whatever would be bottom signals, and that's not what this is. Let's say this is a head and shoulders, like a mega head and shoulders. Maybe you think about something from 6 to 8, which is another 50% down from here as BTC breaks lower. So that's MSTR. I don't have good news on that one. Coin is honestly trading like ETH a little bit. So I'd expect Coin to do better if ETH does better. Coin probably from like 200 to 250 is probably okay. But near term, I wouldn't expect anything out of that. PayPal looks fine. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Square. These are like ultra high time frame ideas anyway. What happens from week to week isn't gonna like break this Square idea, you know, at least not for me. I get a ton of questions about Hood all the time. Hood is like all the altcoins. It's up year to date. It is up like 250% still. So it's like, yeah, I'm bullish Hood like anybody else, but I'm also realistic. It's going to need time to reconsolidate a little bit, right? Like, where were you 2 years ago when this thing was flat? So it's going to need time. What else we got on the legacy side? I guess S&P. S&P's up today, which is interesting. S&P is at its daily Kijun level. I don't think we're going to see a full reset in 2025 for the cloud here, but we might. You know, it's been an entire year of bullish cloud. The last time the cloud reset for the S&P was Q3 into Q4 2023. So I would have the most confidence in a long trade if we were to get this set up again. The next best place would be this exact price level to take a stab. But my higher confidence would be a full reset like that. Peloton. Let's go to SPX to Peloton. QQQ real quick. Same deal. There's no like super clean setup, but as far as levels go, we're close to the daily level that you'd like to see based on the cloud at like 510 or something like that. Any of this other stuff, like Peloton, Zoom, PayPal's in a similar boat. What was the other one? Figs. For me, if something like this is down for 2-3 years and it's just breaking out, like I like to give this some time. So that means I size it down and I just let it do its thing. I like this to 7. It's Peloton, right? I mean, you're probably not going max port Peloton, right? At least I hope not. Figs, similar idea. This may not ever reverse, but at 620, it's a good place to try. Jaywalker, I reeled him in with the thumbnail. But yeah, the real problem on Legacy is the dollar. It's just really destroying everything. TLT's down 1%. So I would just take a breather here. Make sure you're sticking to whatever plan you're sticking to. Have a plan for 2025 and go from there, you know. Hopefully nobody got mega trapped on leverage. This is, how did I draw this? I don't know. There's some sort of like gold, not so great looking fractals up here. So I think gold needs a full cloud reset as well. This is going to take 1 to 2 months if it happens. Q1 normally, gold aside for crypto, Q1 isn't exactly a super bullish period for crypto. Yeah, I mean, we're a tweet away from Trump saying something about a reserve or something, right? There's still a ton of upside risk, but you just have to manage that with the downside risk. Again, if you think this is going to 90, then I'm just looking at it on another screen there. If you think this is going to 90 and alts are getting dragged with it, you know, what's your plan? That's all. You don't have to do anything. Just do you have a plan? Anything else we want to talk about before we shove off here on Legacy? There's some stuff I still like. I still like anything that's been flat for a couple years. I like it just as an analog. Morgan Stanley was a similar trade, similar idea. Broke out at its target. You just have to be super patient with this stuff because it's legacy. It doesn't move as fast as crypto. XLE is another one. It just has traded awful. Absolutely awful. This is energy. It's kind of in the same vein as the Solana BTC idea. Like this should theoretically break up, but it's been horrible. It's traded horrible. XLV. Sim, I don't like crypto until the dollar stops roofing or BTC is closer to 90. XLV, trend-wise, it's not great. It looks a little toppy, doesn't it? On high time frames. Look at this cloud from 2010. If you want to take this further, and if Doge works, the Department of Government Efficiency, and we get some like Medicare fraud, waste, abuse cleanup, I don't know, right? Maybe that affects this. RFK coming in doing some stuff. We can make things up as far as a narrative, but this doesn't look bullish for sure. It's already down 15% from the highs there. Lockheed Martin LMT. Oof. Even the military industrial complex is down. That's how you know things are bad. It's down 20%. Yikes. That is an ugly, you know, if you think BTC looks bad or some alts look bad, this thing just gave it all up. In the course of like 6 months, the entire move just gone. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because this thing has a history of doing great for a very long time. So naturally you want to get in there and buy the dip. But what if this is the dip that keeps dipping? I don't know, not for me. But maybe, yeah, maybe the military industrial complex does better under Trump, right? What about the drones? What about the drones? AMD, we'll do SMH first. SMH, I just don't think it's worth doing anything up here with this. Still looks like a head and shoulders to me on any time frame I want to care about. It's done nothing. AMD, not great. Not great. Not great. I got nothing. Trying to look, is there like a pitchfork? Is there anything here? It just looks ugly. I got nothing. I got nothing. Any other last minute requests before we hop? We looked at bonds, we looked at stonks, we looked at dollar. IGV software still looks fine to me. Not worried about that one for 2025. This can pull back, I don't really care, whatever. Amazon to me still looks great for 2025. Let this pull back again, I don't care. Google looks fine. No issues with that one either. Oh yeah, miners. I guess we can look at miners. Miners just haven't traded well, and you know, again, like you have a thesis or whatever, a hypothesis, and you think XYZ reason, miners XYZ, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Okay, fine. The reality is this chart is atrocious. It is up chop for 2 years. It is just pain. It is pain because it does well when times you wouldn't necessarily think it does well, and then it doesn't do well in other times, and it doesn't necessarily always trade how you think it will. And so I just have avoided the miners for the most part recently. I think I don't like them especially because you got to trade this in like low time frames, which is fine. But they don't look good. They just don't look good. There's like these micro bursts of trend that you have to be very cognizant of catching the range. If you don't, you're just kind of trapped. So that's why it's rough. We can go through these real quick. It's just like, what do we do with this? Is this a giant rising wedge? Is this just a vanilla bull trend? It looks okay. Is it a buy for me here? No, I don't think so. I don't know what there is to do with this here. CleanSpark has been trading just awful. This whole thing just looks ugly to me. No, it's just not for me. IREN, maybe a cup and handle. Maybe there's some sort of diagonal support there, right? We're just kind of like reaching and guessing because price action's been so gross. Mara, It's just not for me, period. Just perma hell. I could care less about their Bitcoin reserve. I could care less about what they're doing. It just hasn't traded well. Riot's in a similar boat. Let them buy the BTC. I will buy BTC and hold it. They can buy BTC as well, but it doesn't mean I need to buy Riot. Okay, it just doesn't. I could care less. I'm glad they're buying BTC, but I don't need to buy Riot. Bitfarms. Ugh, yuck. Breaking down. Cypher looks okay. Holding sideways. I don't know. It's not like screaming anything to me. BT just kind of chopping around. I thought this one would do a little bit better, but the issue is when the group isn't trading well, it's hard for me to have conviction on an individual name, and then I either size it down or just ignore it. I just don't take the trade because what's the point? You know, if most of these aren't trading well, it's hard to break out of the pack a lot of the time. Hut looks okay. It had, it had this thing that it broke out of. Looks okay. Hive, ugly. Canan's not really a miner. And then Cores to me looked like Nvidia. It looked like a head and shoulders at the top. The super old inverted head and shoulders, that target got hit in November. And up here, I got nothing. You have this low time frame head and shoulder breakdown. Trend is neutral to bearish. I got nothing. GME asks someone. Is GME up today? GM Izzle. It is above the daily cloud. It's it's been what is this? 300 days of chop. It's above the daily cloud. I'll give you that. I will give you that, but I don't know. It's GME, right? I don't know. AMC I think looks much worse. Yeah. AMC never really recovered like GME did. Even GME on the weekly cloud hasn't really broken back out again. I don't know. I don't see a reason to want to trade this. It's just a lottery ticket at this point, I think. I think that's all we got. Right? Netflix always looks good, but it's probably down again. You know, the entire market's kind of down, right? It looks great, but what I add up here, I wouldn't. I like 810 as an ad for Netflix. I like Ben. I just think with any analyst, you can't listen to anybody for every word and take it verbatim. You have to use their knowledge and incorporate it with your knowledge and form a plan around whatever you think is most appropriate. I'm wrong all the time, right? I think what I'm good at is building the decision tree and figuring out where the probabilities are. So you just have to find what you like and what you don't like about any analyst, and you know, use what you appreciate and what they're good at. He's been good at dominance. He's bad at some other stuff. Right? Dominance is still, it looks great. You'd expect dominance to go up here because alts sell off more than BTC does. So BTC is down 4, alts are going to be down 8 to 15, right? Who knows? Dominance is going to be up. All right, so that's the last time we'll talk in 2024. I hope everybody has a good Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever. A good New Year, and I'll be back. What day is? I'll be back Is it the week of the 6th? I'll be back for Setup Sunday on the 5th. Setup Sunday on the 5th for sure. Maybe a stream on the 3rd, but definitely the 5th. Hit the like button. Throw me a comment. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe out there.